Welcome to the Music Combine. Greg, good morning or afternoon, whatever it is here in lovely California.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Miguel.
Hey, so pretty special guest today.
Yeah.
Not only is he my surfing compatriot, but he also is my neighbor here in Los Angeles on Peach Grove Street. Really great guy. He comes to us from many projects. One is he's an amazing producer, singer, songwriter. I met him at a wedding about 2-3 years ago when our buddy Roy Oration and our good friend Lene Mackay, who's now Lene Oration, got married, and he was playing the cocktail hour. We just happened to be at the same table together.
Nice.
And got along so lovely and so well, and became really good friends. And he's done a whole host of things. He's played bass for Wilson Phillips, was on the actual reality show for that. Well, no, I mean, you know, it's one of the things you've done, dude.
I love Wilson.
Don't.
Great harmony.
But anyway, hold on. So, but he's also most recently, he has a band called Teleskopes. He produces and writes for other people. And most recently, his most recent hired gun gig was playing bass for Chris Schiflett's solo project.
Mm-hmm. Who's Chris Schiflett? Can you give the
Chris Schiflett from the Foo Fighters. But anyway, he's an amazing human being. My surfing buddy. Please welcome Fox Fagan.
Welcome.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, bud. There we go. Hey. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's well deserved for a man of your integrity and stature. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 ways every day.
What's good with you, man? How you doing? Have you missed me the past few days?
What was that? Sorry.
Have you missed me?
Have I missed you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't turn up. You know, my other friend called me today. We were supposed to play tennis. And
right.
He's got a bad leg today.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you got a bad back the other night. Like my friends are way too old.
Dude, it now feels great, but like yesterday I literally got out of bed. This is a great story. I got out of bed and stood up, and the muscles between my ass and my lower back just went, and I was like, there's no way in 2 hours I'm going to be able to get in the water.
You know what it is? It's just lactic acid buildup. That's
your mom's got lactic acid buildup.
You're not doing your yoga.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been stretching, rolling, and everything else, so hopefully we can go out this weekend. But anyway, back to you. What's been going on? How you been doing during pandemic? We've heard the big story from a lot of musicians that we've interviewed on the show of, you know, things aren't all that great, but how are you kind of combating it?
You know, it's been a funny few months. But I think it's kind of been great, to be honest. You know, it's been kind of a new beginnings type of thing for me. A lot of stuff is, not only is the pandemic has shifted a lot of things, but a lot of stuff in my life is also seems to be shifting as well.
Right.
And it's kind of, you know, I realized how much I miss playing with other musicians.
Sure.
That's one of the big things.
I think Greg can really relate to that, because like, how many months was it, dude, before you guys Red Hymns actually went back to the practice room?
3.5 months. And I got set up.
A long time.
Nobody did. So it was like I was just playing by myself all the time, which is okay to an extent, but it's not the same, like you said.
What's funny, I didn't pick up I still haven't really picked up the bass that much, except for when I was a couple songs that I recorded by myself. But I really was getting into like playing the piano a lot.
Yeah. Right.
And trying to master my boogie woogie skills.
Ditto. I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Literally.
Boogie?
No, not the boogie. Just learning how to play it better and like just get better at it in general, which I think I've done pretty good myself.
It's funny, that thing, if you practice, you get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, you're adaptable. You know, you play multiple instruments. You can tap into that as long as you. I get lost on that thing for like 2.5 hours at a time.
I had, I worked in this bar in North Hollywood, and one of the guys that would come into the bar was a producer called John Bryan, who is an amazing producer. And we got talking, funny enough, about back pain. He'd gotten back pain, and I was telling him I got some back pain. He's like, he was like, I just got some too, and really bummed out because I can't play the drums or the piano. I really can't play the drums, and he's a great drummer. And he's like, they're the only two ways I can meditate.
Mm-hmm.
By actually playing the piano and just getting lost, like what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Or, playing the drums.
Getting lost.
He can literally just play without recording himself, without thinking, and just kind of go there.
Zen. It's all about the Zen, right?
So that's what's great about the pianos, because it's all there. It's all in front of you. You can see all the keys. You can just play, and, there's no wrong notes.
Mm. Well, the black and white keys always are fascinating to me on how to make those sound, cohesive without sounding sour. But it's definitely interesting. You could make the uninteresting interesting, and it could sound really creepy, like
or avant-garde,
or avant-garde, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like tapping into something like that during this time is probably the best thing you can do. Looking within, keeping busy, being creative, and it's great.
I remember at first I was like, great, that's it. I got 3 months to just go be creative. This is the best thing that could ever happen, Not obviously not to humanity, because it's really bad. But and then a month goes by, and you just kind of like the inspiration just isn't quite there as you would imagine it to be, like with all this time on your hands, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of distractive stuff, But then after a while, I started like to kind of tune into my own kind of mantra type thing, and still stay current with what's going on, with everything that's going on, but also just trying to kind of like find my peace.
Sure. I think it's for a lot of people are doing that right now. Luckily, we are musicians, and we can, when we're actually putting ourselves in the situation where we can tap into our creative side a little bit more. I think the more we do that, the easier it becomes, and then, you're jamming with other musicians on the regular, and then you don't have those musicians anymore. It kind of gives you time to really tap into your ideas in your head and like start hashing stuff out, and, sending it to Mike and him saying it sucks, and then, going back and forth. It's cool.
Well, I have my fair share of sucking, so.
Have the creative side to tap into. So I think we're pretty lucky on that front.
I think so too. Yeah. It's nice to have that little escape. Yeah.
I mean, Fox and I have friends like locally here, and like when I talk to certain ones, they're like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to do. Like with myself, I'm like, put down the fucking phone and pick up a new hobby. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Read a book.
See?
Surfboard. Perfect. Gyms are closed. The only gym we got is the fucking beach, man.
That's something that's awesome. I think that's you guys are surfing. I like, again, I go to the gym all the time. I can't go to the gym. It's been 6 months. I've never in my life not been in the for 6 months.
You could always get a paddleboard for the Ramapo River, bro.
Don't you think the gym is kind of a gross place now?
It is.
Yeah. I think you and I were talking about it the other day on the way back from surfing.
We talked about it.
Yeah, I think you and I talked about it too. There's 3 places that major pathogens actually spread, and staph infection being one of them. And that's, before gyms, prisons,
right,
gyms, and hospitals.
Two of which, you definitely don't want to be in. One which I was okay to go to.
Right.
Still at the same time had the, the little wipes that they had and was wiping down everything.
Sure.
But now, just picking up a pair of dumbbells that have been sitting there all day kind of sounds just weird to me.
Agreed. I agree. Especially,
but I don't know. Might try it again. Maybe I'll have to go to a nicer gym or something.
Well, yeah, Mike goes to Equinox, which is like the top gyms. I go to Retro, which is a $20 membership, and all I need is a squat rack, and just leave me alone. But like, yeah, I mean, if you go to a nicer gym, that's probably, you're better off. I just don't know what gym owner is going to be doing right now, because they're
going out of business.
Later, it sucks. Like,
and unfortunately, probably a lot of them are going out of business. But back to the music thing. Let's talk about you, Foxy Boxy.
Boxy.
Well, he is actually a boxer.
In the day.
Back in the day, he was a rated boxer.
That's awesome.
You come from the great land down under.
My family moved there.
Yeah.
When I was 16.
So were you born in England, or were you born in...
Born in England.
Yeah.
Portsmouth, England. Play up. That's my football team.
All right.
All right. And yeah, well, hopefully, I think we're in the playoffs this year. It's a bit of a weird season because of the COVID thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and then my family moved to Australia when I was 15 or 16, something like that. I started getting into music. Well, I was already into music. I started playing in Australia, in Melbourne. The big thing is like cover bands there. It's like everybody is doing cover bands there. It's like big business, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
The drummer from Carnival, Steve Judd, great drummer.
Yeah.
Singer for a wedding cover band. That's his full-time gig. That's what he does. It's pretty crazy.
That's, you know. And where does he do that?
I don't know. I don't know where, but he's like big into it. Like he was, you know, he always like.
They're from Australia, yeah, though, right?
Yeah.
I think they're from Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's Melbourne.
So that was, you know, that was kind of how I got like started properly on the live scene, was, you know, playing in cover bands.
Were you making money at that early in life, like when the cover bands?
Yeah,
that's great.
I was doing an apprenticeship as an electrician. I had gotten to my last year, I think, of the apprenticeship when I was about 19, and I was just moved out of my parents' place, living in a place in Hawthorne, Melbourne, and playing in a few bands, and was getting home at, you know, and plus the bars don't close like 3 or 4 in the morning there. So your last set is at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
a.m. So you're not getting home till 3 or 4, and then I would have to get up at 5 or 6 to go, you know, be an electrician. And then at one point I think I'd pretty much done my apprenticeship, and as soon as it was done, I was like, that's it, and I just stopped doing it.
That's a lot of work though to put in, and then just be like, okay, see you later.
Well, I mean, I could either go and be an electrician, or I could go do music. I couldn't do both, really.
Right.
Like you said, the balance act is not easy.
Yeah, and my dad was always like the one, you got to get a trade, son. It's a trade, which has come in handy, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. I mean, did you always go back to it? Have you had to go back to that? Did you actually work as an electrician after that at some point in your life?
I've done stuff here. You know, every now and then, like, you know, and here is a little less strict than kind of in Australia. You got to have like, it's like all unionized and stuff like that there. But yeah, I've definitely gone back to it here and done a bit of everything. Like I'm doing a bit of painting right now in the studio.
I mean, dude, the trim looks great in the background. Like just from what you painted before, you know, it's like
That's not the studio.
I know. In general,
someone else did this. That wasn't me. I'll let them know, whoever it was.
Great. So as you're you know, coming up with cover bands and coming out of your apprenticeship, and now you're doing the music thing, how was your relationship with your dad after that? Was he mad at you, or?
He was great, I think. And eventually, like years later, when I moved to America, then he was like, "All right, you're for real then, I guess." I was like,
so let's talk about that. You know, you, after not being an electrician anymore or apprentice to become a journeyman, you now decided, all right, I'm doing music full time.
Yeah.
What were some of the professional gigs like that you first got with it? Pretty much those cover band style, wedding band style type stuff.
Actually, it was cover bands, and then I got into a group of into a cover band that had like a really great group of musicians in it, like beyond my level. Chris Becker was the bass player, Tony Copa was the singer, Peter Maslin and Greggy Patton were playing drums. It was like really good. And I was playing keyboards at the time.
Okay.
Keyboard player.
Nice.
And so from there, those guys were doing the session gigs as well. They were doing the touring gigs. They were going out with the big touring bands in Australia. And so through that, I would get other gigs. I ended up getting a gig with a guy called John Stevens, who is a singer in a band called Noiseworks, and actually was a singer for In Excess for a minute after Michael died. Yeah.
Really?
So, and he's like an amazing singer, really talented.
To be able to hold a stick to that guy. That guy was amazing himself, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, and that was great. And I think I toured with him for like 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. And And then there was another band. Yeah, kind of from the cover band scene, but I ended up kind of like getting over it really quickly, the cover band scene, and not doing it. And then I'd rather go work on a building site.
Mm-hmm. Because what, covers are not really fulfilling to you. They allow you to play music, but it's not giving you fulfillment of
a while it kind of wears off.
Sure.
And you got to, the bands have to play the same songs almost pretty much every night. And, it can get kind of wears off on you, and you end up kind of doing other things to get through the gigs, 3 sets. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
You toured the local Australia scene? Is that where you toured, like Australia only, or were you guys going out?
They was pretty much just domestically, up the East Coast, Sydney, up to Brisbane, Cairns, down to Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, rural Victoria, that type of thing.
All right. And then so now you're getting a little sick of doing the covers, and you start getting regular jobs again, and then you start writing your music, and what happens then? Yeah,
I mean, also I was playing in a proper touring band. I was playing for the artist. That was becoming important to me. To play for the actual artist. And at the same time, I was writing, and I'd started a band. Well, a friend of mine had started a band called Cade, which I went in, and then that.
Wait. Cade.
Oh,
Cade. Okay.
Not that guy.
Okay.
And then I started a band called Brain Dead Lovers. We got a record deal. And then we toured for a bit. And that was kind of on its way up but it was at the same time I could see it was kind of petering. Like It wasn't. There was at some point I had imagined that I should move to America.
Right.
My friends were touring over here, and I wanted to do some international touring, And a couple of my friends had done it over here in bands, and then they'd come back and they told me about it.
Right.
And it just started to kind of, it was an idea in my head that had kind of like I couldn't get out. I was like, okay, this is an idea now, and then eventually it ended up happening. I met a girl at a show who was from California,
right,
Los Angeles, and we kind of, linked up with each other, and I followed her over here, basically.
Musically and romantically?
Romantically.
Okay. So that's how you got it. That's how you got here. That's how you got your foot in.
But it was kind of like a manifestation of some sorts, I guess.
Absolutely. There's no coincidences.
No. So, I mean, there was another band I was in Australia that's doing really well too now called Electric Mary. Great rock and roll band. I was just talking to Rusty the other day. I'm going to try and mix one of their songs. We'll see.
Oh, awesome.
Mix one of them. Whether he likes it or not is another story.
I'm sure it'll be great. So you come to the United States, like how does that go? Did you have the tough time of the first 6 months in the United? Like I know like everybody, there's always that
learning curve.
No, I think there's always like this wives' tale of like, oh, the first 6 months are the hardest, but once you stay, you'll stay in LA forever, like type thing. Did you kind of have that experience of like, maybe Greg's right, learning curve, or like kind of like the curve of adversity that everyone kind of, I think, follows, just getting used to living in Los Angeles?
It's a new scene for you. You don't know anybody, right? Unless the girl you're dating gets you in with somebody,
Actually.
Oh, there you go.
It was a mix of both of those things that you just said, Michael. Because I had heard like such and such had come here, and within 5 months they're on the Avengers movie or something like that. Which we know it doesn't really work like that. Yeah, there was a lot of work that was put in over there, but when I got here, the girl I was seeing did actually know someone who knew a guy called Barry Squire, and and I had gotten. It must have been like 10 days or something like that. And I got an audition through him.
Shit.
Artist called Bo Black, and who's an amazing composer and singer-songwriter. And I went in, and that was the first audition I went for, and I got the gig. So that was kind of like a bit of pure luck, I think, because that kind of that was a good impression.
Was this for bass or keys?
That was bass.
So a little side note. those who don't know, Barry Squire is the guy here in town that basically, if you have a project, like say you have a boy band and you need to put the band together, he's the guy who puts them together.
So he's like the better Lou Pearlman?
No. So no matter what type of project you have, but usually it's in pop or rock or whatever, he's kind of the tastemaker of all the session guys, and he puts them together with different projects. Essentially,
Yeah, he's been really great to me, actually.
Yeah, no, Barry's amazing.
He has started so many careers. Careers that, you know.
And I think he's a little. I think unless you're a musician, you really don't know him, or in his industry professional, you don't know him. But Barry's like that guy. Like, I mean, yeah, like my friend. I think my friend Nick Annis, who plays for Kesha. He's done a bunch of gigs through Barry.
Yeah.
There
you go. Barry's the guy. He
only tried out for Chris Cornell, like through Barry or whatever. Yeah.
So that was a stroke of luck, and some amazing things happened in those first 6 months too. I remember hearing that Wolf Mother had broken up.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I wonder if Andrew's. I just had this thought in my head. I wonder if Andrew's in LA looking for another band. And, you know, and I got a phone call a couple of days later saying, hey, would you like to come down and try out for Wolf Mother? I'm like, get the
fuck out of here. All right, let's dive into this little thing.
Hold on, I didn't even know this one.
But here's the thing that the most amazing thing about the two things that you just said. One was, you wanted to go to America. You didn't know how you were going to get there. You didn't.
Hey, hold on one second. You pronounced it wrong. It's America.
Wanted to go to America. And you got your way in there, okay? And now you're in America for a couple days, 10 days, and then you get in touch with this guy Barry through your girlfriend, God bless her, at the time. And then now you thought about Wolf Mother in your head, and then you get a call 2 days later after that. Yeah. So that shows the amount of open-mindedness you have without having resistance in actually squashing that. So there's something called excess potential. Excess potential is when you get excited about an opportunity that you think is going to happen, and you put so much energy into it, it's too much, and it doesn't happen, right? So it sounds like you have a little laid-off approach there. Oh, I wonder what happened with Wolf Mother. 2 days later, boom, you get a call. There you go. There it is.
I actually contacted their management too, because I've met their manager a while back. He'd come to see one of my bands in Australia.
Okay.
So I contacted their management, and he wrote straight back to me. He said, Andrew's doing what he wants to do. I don't know what he's doing. So I was like, all right, left it. Didn't think anything else about it. And then 2 days later, yeah. It was, I mean, I think that what is it you said it was? That energy?
It's excess potential. You didn't have that excess potential based on what you just said to me. You said you wrote, found out, and let it go. That's what you do. You let it go. You think about what you want and you let it go, and then it comes back. And that's like the boomerang effect. Otherwise, you're putting too much energy into it, and then nothing happens, or it doesn't work. I remember
having that excess potential when I was trying to get my band on the radio, on a particular radio station in Australia, and I was thinking about it every day. And then it happened, but it didn't get added. It was like on a local show or something like that, and we were paying money to a promotion person. But I think I'd maybe learned from that experience and like, okay, well, it's okay to kind of dream big, but it's, it's also kind of like, okay, move it on, put it out there and move on. But
there you go. That's exactly right. So metaphysically, everything that you want to pursue in your life, dream-wise, is, and I'm coming off like I'm a guru. I'm not, but I study the human mind and how it works and how metaphysics works with manifesting your dream, whatever that may be. So it seems like you learn from that. And I've done the excess potential thing. We all have. We all are guilty of it, and many people are. So why don't you manifest things? Because people just put too much energy into something without tapping into it and letting it go. And just like, you know what I mean? Just putting it on cruise control, letting everything else come to you. So you're a testament to that. That's pretty impressive, man. Without you even realizing it, I think.
Steve, I mean, that was a big first, you talk about the first 6 months. It was a big first 6 months to 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And actually in that time, so after I'd gotten that first gig, the same friend of the girl I was seeing, she called me and said, "Look, I want you to go try out for this other band.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are really, really good. Like, so make sure you learn the shit."
Right.
And which I always do. And so I go down and I go down there, and this is more of a, not really like a session hired gun gig. This is more of like a band,
Right.
So I go down and I walk into this room, and there's a guy called Sammy. These guys are all really still good friends. There's a guy called Sammy, and there's a guy called Anthony, and then there's Pele on guitar, and then there's Jesper on drums. And Pele and Jesper are my two partners in Teleskopes. So we had actually met in that first, I can't even remember, that first year that I was here. Might have even been the first 6 months. We had actually met then and started playing in this other band called Once at the time.
Cool. What year is this, by the way?
I think I moved here in 2008. So right when the economy crashed.
Right.
The first time. Well, I don't know what time it was, but the last time before,
It was a correction. Correction.
That was a correction, yeah. So yeah, that was around about 2000. And that's when I moved here, 2008. And so I started playing with those guys, but Pele and Jesper and I we could tell early on that there was something there. But those guys had just gotten back from playing in a band that was signed to a label in the UK.
Okay.
And had been living over there, and then the singer had something that happened with the singer, and they got kind of stranded there, and so they were a bit burnt out on doing bands.
Yeah.
And at that time, and I was like, we should do a band, like a real band, the three of us. I was very keen,
Yeah. Did you like that? You like the band thing, right?
I was like, we should do a band, guys. And it took me a while, but I think eventually around about 2011, we started getting together. Like 3 years later, we started getting together and like being like, okay, this could actually be something.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that was the start of Teleskopes, pretty much.
Okay, so here we are. Started Teleskopes.
Teleskopes, yeah.
And you're doing session work on top of being in Teleskopes as well.
Yeah. That started to come together. A few gigs here and there, but nothing really majorly nothing that regular.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I started working in a bar at that time too. So I was working in a bar. You got to do as many things as you can still. But I remember, I think it was like the end of 2011, and I'd been up in New York renovating a house, doing my electrical thing up there, and then
there you go.
And then had come back, and it wasn't going well with the girl. We were breaking up.
Shit.
Everything was terrible. I was trying to get a job at Whole Foods.
Oh.
I actually got a second interview at Whole Foods. And then they called me and they said, hey, we really liked you. We really like someone else. So we tossed a coin and you didn't get it. And then I think a couple of days later, I got a phone call from my friend who was like, hey, do you want to go and try out for Wilson Phillips?
Look at that.
I was like, I didn't really know who they were, to be honest.
Don't you change?
Yeah. I
go your way if you hold. I mean, they're singing to you, dude.
I know, baby. Yeah, it was. As soon as I found out who they were, I was like, dude, guys, we gotta get this gig. Like, there was no not getting it for me. There was like, I am getting this gig. I need this gig. This is going to save my life right now.
Seriously, from Whole Foods to that.
From getting rejected from Whole Foods and the breakup and all that type of stuff, and it was just
playing with rock royalty kids.
Yeah, I know, and that was the other thing. I was like, oh my god, like I done the history and all of their families, and I was like, wow, this is going to be amazing. So I made the band rehearse because we were all going to go in together as a unit.
Oh wow!
Playing a guitar. I made the band I was like, we're going to go in and rehearse the songs like a day before, and then we'll go into the audition and we'll nail it. And we did, and we got the gig. And it was like, and they were at that point in time, they just started filming the reality show that they were doing, and they were busy. And so it was just bam, it was on. It was really fun.
That's something else right there.
And that was 3 years after being here, and that's when I felt like, because I was like, am I even a bass player? Do I even play music? Like, what is going on? After the rejections and certain things weren't working, and then that one was like a little bit of confirmation. I mean, like, all right, let's do this now. So yeah, it was good.
You're validated.
It validated indeed.
And now you've been doing that ever since, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This year was going to be a really busy year for them. I'll go surfing instead. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what are they going to do? Are they pivoting towards the Veeps platform? Does Fox know about the Veeps platform, Michael?
I told you about them while we were surfing. So again,
check this out, dude.
They're their online ticketing platform with basically the technology to help you stream your stuff. So what they're doing is basically, if most people go, oh, I'm going to stream on OBS or whatever. The thing is that they basically take care of all the back end technology, the infrastructure that, say, Ticketmaster or Live Nation would do for a live venue. They do it for the actual streaming platform. Mm-hmm. And they have it so secure and so locked up. Like if I was to buy a ticket, say for Telescopes on Veeps, I couldn't take the link and share it with Greg because they'd shut you down. It's as good as an actual ticket.
Yeah.
And what's the great thing about them also is that the lion's share of the money goes back to the artist. So if a ticket costs $10, they take a 15% administration fee on top of the ticket.
Yep.
Not taking it from the ticket price.
Here's the other thing that's really cool about this. Ready? They have venues, like any venue. If you wanted to play the Beacon Theater in New York City, you're gonna play that venue in that location. You could pick the location you want.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so they're going to stream it, and then the crew, like the guys that are putting everything together on tours that don't have a job, they're going to be able to have a job as well and be able to be used and utilized for that actual gig.
Purpose.
I don't know what they're going to do, Mike, but like she said that.
No. I mean, because the thing is, it makes total sense. So I just got asked to consult on a streaming gig, funny enough, for this temple on High Holy Days. A friend of mine is the financial advisor for this temple. And he said, how do we do it? I go, is there going to be people there? First off, he goes, no, we're going to totally stream. I said, great. We have enough PA, enough speakers for you to monitor the gig, plus monitors for the band, plus send a feed out to the online. No worries.
So it's the same thing as any other show.
Same thing. And actually, I just thought about this. We might just have to use Veeps for the deal. Lindsay Medina at Veeps, shout out. She was on 2 episodes ago. Is amazing at what she does. I mean, this woman, came from Danny Wimmer Presents and put together the Metallica thing for this year, where there was like 10 festivals. Every set was different, and it was for all their different festivals that they were doing. And she's put some big projects together, and she's going to definitely be a force to be reckoned with. And she's the marketing director at Veeps.
Yeah.
Bill and Benji Madden had put the company together, but their thing is like what we do with this podcast: be a good person all the time.
Yeah.
And they're really showing it through their actions and words and stuff like that through the system. Because like Live Nation, still, if they're charging tickets, and like nothing against Live Nation, everyone's got to make money, but if they're charging tickets and sales for this live at home stuff that they do, they're still taking their amazing amount of fees, I believe, on top of it. Mm-hmm. Whereas they've basically streamlined that whole process with Veeps.
So this thing could be applicable to, if you ever wanted to mention it to any of your
any band can sign up for it. You don't have to be a live, like you would have to be a Live Nation artist to be inside Live Nation.
Which gives
Telescopes could just open up an account, and you guys could start inviting your fans to live shows.
They have like a manager that does the marketing and everything too.
What were you gonna say, Fox? Sorry.
So we could, conceivably say, we want to go play the Moroccan Lounge.
Yeah.
But so we actually play at the venue.
Yeah, you could, or play from your house or wherever.
There's nobody there. But I mean, like, I'm just like, you could play at your house, but like, how are you going to, the crew comes to the mic?
Well, I mean, the thing is, you hire your own crew.
If it's your crew, it's your crew.
It's your crew. But the thing is that they're off. They have the people. If you don't have the technology aspect of it together, because OBS, and I'm sorry, guys, your program sucks. It is very hard to use.
It's job, but it's just a little limited.
It's limited and it's just hard to use. We wanted to use it for this program so we could go live while we do these podcasts. Mm-hmm. The problem is that I can't invite Greg in to OBS, so there's both of us and a guest there at the same time, and it doesn't work well with Zoom. There's like all these plugins, and then you have to go to their forums. Like, there's nothing streamlined to go get anything inside of OBS.
It's a rabbit hole, and
it's a major rabbit hole.
I went down it when the pandemic first hit.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, I need to do live streaming shows. I ended up calling them live busking.
Yeah,
online busking.
Yeah,
and it was working for me, and I did a couple with the OBS because I didn't want it to sound like shit. I wanted to at least have a microphone.
Sure.
Or maybe like a little bit of compression, a little reverb or something like that going. And, but then Instagram, I was working, I've got Facebook Live and I've got Instagram Live. Facebook Live, you can use OBS. Instagram Live, you can't. Mm-hmm. So it was like one, I was, and even though it sounded crappy, at the end of the day, it wasn't worth the effort of trying to set everything up to make it sound good.
Right.
Having the headache and the lag. People just didn't really care that much.
Right. The back work that it takes to get it up and going is like, by the time you're there, you like forgot why you wanted to do it in the first place. And it's like a rabbit hole. Like you go down. And
the thing is that it's really designed like a broadcast kind of TV software, which is great if you're doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not really, I mean, I guess it is and it isn't friendly to bands in a lot of ways.
I'm sure some people have it worked out now, but every live stream I've seen has always, audio-wise, hasn't
been that great.
There's, I think some guys have got it down, but these are guys that have budgets to be able to.
Well, Animals as Leaders did it over YouTube Live, and they did it from one of the studios that's been set up.
Right.
Down in Anaheim that Veeps works with.
Right.
Jack One Sound, I think it's called. Anyway, they literally, it's a beautiful setup because they designed it just for that. So they already have every light wall inside there, huge LED light walls, but it's like you're actually standing on the stage of a practice room.
Yeah. So they have satellite.
So it's got that very like intimate kind of feel to it. It's not like you're sitting in an empty House of Blues.
But there is, I don't think there's anything with playing at home. I think it's you got to meet at a venue. It's like the venue is
No. There's playing at home because they had the one band that was doing a residency in every bedroom of their house for a week.
So they would go through just the Veeps platform and then they would.
Okay. That's what Lindsay's point was, that Kat, their technology officer, will actually sit with you to help you set up OBS.
So there's the learning curve that takes forever, and they
they have somebody who does it, and she's the one who brought Lindsay in. But anyway,
still, this conversation that we're having is very, very relevant because what they're right now is they're coming up with an actual solution. And think about this, Fox. Think about how much touring costs and the operational expenditures, and just limiting that, streamlining it down, and then just having a company handle all the hard shit, and then you guys just worry about the actual show. I think that's amazing. That's what's missing right now.
The only other thing is, and this is also like relevant, is that some band members don't want to get together.
Mm-hmm. True, which you have things like Jam Kazam.
So some people are still like very into this quarantine thing. So even getting all the bands together in a room, and you're singing, you're spitting on the mic, and you're not, what I mean?
Dude, I don't want people at my house to record right now.
So it's just, I think that, it's a great idea, but like, it's not quite
there yet.
It's not quite,
Well, that's the thing. People have to at some point. Here's what happened. I wasn't practicing for 3.5 months. We finally started practicing. Like yesterday, I went to every week. We practice twice a week now, back to normal. But we're wearing masks while we're in there. And when I drum, I take it off because there's no way I'm gonna fucking have that on me when I'm drumming. But like otherwise, like we're staying apart from each other, and we're doing everything we can to be, take precaution. But at the same point, you got to pull the trigger and live your life. Otherwise, you're just being controlled by everything else. And I think that's just, it's an opinion, but it's also kind of a movement thing. It's like, how much longer are you going to let this cripple what you love to do? And most people are struggling with that thought in their head.
Yeah.
And it's something you can't tell people how to feel. But at the same time, you know, there's a point where you got to draw the line in the sand and be like, listen, all right, we'll take precaution, but like, you know, I have a hand sanitizer thing on the door now when you walk in before you go in. We're just more precautious, but it's been about a month and a half and we've been great. We've been wearing masks. So it's kind of like, that's annoying. I fucking hate it, but at least we're practicing.
Yeah. It's, I think, you know, there's learning, it's not going away anytime soon. I think we know that. So it's learning how to kind of live with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've just started playing tennis with Pele, who's my Teleskopes guitarist. And I'm like, see, if we play tennis, we can record guitars, right?
Nice.
You know, we'll wear masks and we'll record guitars. And
Come on, buddy.
Take the racket.
Right before the pandemic hit, we had actually destroyed my studio, thrown out the couch, and drums in there. And it's not really it's not a live room. It's a small room, but we got drums in there and we set up the bass guitar and we set up his guitars, and we were actually recording all three of us playing live together. That's kind of how we play best, you know.
Badass.
And so we had done like, I've got a lot of songs that are sitting there now, and I've gotten to the point and I'm like, now we need to record more guitars. I need to record the guitars again. And so I'm ready for him. Well, now I'm totally renovating my studio. So when that's done, then I'll be ready. So I'm like, so when this is done, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get back in there.
So his mindset's a little more, little worried about what's going on.
We've like socially distanced and we're all like, trying to be careful of it. Yeah, but right now I don't know if he feels comfortable to come over here or what, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Well, he's Swedish. It should be the herd mentality to him, right?
Does he have more of a Swedish accent?
Yes, he does.
Hello.
The other day, we met a couple of Swedish girls actually, and we played doubles with them.
Oh, sweet.
And they were all Swedish, and I was like the only non-Swedish guy. Like,
my friend lives in Sweden. His brother lives in there. That's very good.
That's what they said. Thanks. I'm good working out.
What was this from the Metalocalypse? Is that guy from Sweden, Mike? What's good? What's going on here?
No, he's German.
Okay.
Isn't he?
One of them's like Swedish.
Are they?
Yeah.
Metalocalypse?
Yeah.
No.
I love the accent. My friend's brother, he's like from America, but he like lived in Sweden for so long. He has that. He's like, I don't understand what's going on here. Really, it's just not a big deal. We can go tipping if you want. Now, tipping means you go to the strip bar. And you call it like, we're going to go tipping. So I don't see what the big deal is. You just go to a bar and just go tipping. It's not a big deal.
Tipping opens up again.
Yeah, when tipping opens up.
When it opens up again, yeah.
I won't be there. But yeah, gotcha.
10-4.
So now you're in like kind of limbo with waiting for your boys to get comfortable.
No, I mean, yeah. But also, now I'm like redoing the studio. So it's kind of like been finding things to do. That was, I think at one point I was just like, I'm just going to live a bit of life. And they tried opening everything up again. And I hired a convertible car and went down to Laguna Beach for a day, just stayed there for a week.
Beautiful. I went there 2 years ago now, and it was beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous down there.
It really is.
Anywhere when you head like in Orange County and you go like Laguna, Corona del Mar, and even further south to like San Juan Cap, Capistrano. Like I would love to stay in San Juan Cap for a week. It's just a beautiful place.
Yeah. It's also been a nice break from the hustle. It's a different hustle, but like, there's no gigs to get really right now. So there's nothing, it's just like, well, just get into whatever it is you want to get into.
Do you have any projects going on currently besides Wilson Phillips?
I mean, as far as projects go, I have like Teleskopes, and I have a couple of solo things that I've been doing. That are just a lot of stuff that's just sitting there right now that needs to be finished. And then for the gigs, it's Wilson Phillips. I play with Chris Schiflett.
Yep.
And I play with a girl from Israel called Ninette Tayeb.
So when you play for Chris Schiflett, are you playing keys?
I'm playing bass.
You're playing. Okay, so Chris isn't he the bass player?
No, he's a guitar player.
Oh, he's the third guitar player, right? Three.
No, he was there before Pat, I think.
Yeah, he was there before.
Pat was there, and then Pat left, and then Chris came in to replace Pat.
Came back.
Yeah.
Right. That's great, man. So you're playing for him, and then his music's kind of like Foo Fighter-ish rock, or
Kind of like Foo Fighter Americana, but it's like more Americana kind of country roots.
Cool
type stuff. Yeah. So that was really fun tour with him.
How did you get introduced to him?
So the drummer from Telescopes, Jesper, he had actually gotten the gig with Chris, which is a funny story too, which you might have to tell you that one. It
is a funny story, but
picking up his phone and then. But I'd heard that Jesper got the gig, and it must have been around June or something, and he's got this run of shows in July, and one of them happened to fall on my birthday, July 12th, and it was at Pappy and Harriet's in the desert. And my friend had just gotten a place in the desert, and they were like putting a pool in and stuff like that. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go to the desert for that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Go see my mate Jesper play with Chris Schiflett at Pappy and Harriet's. It's going to be a great time.
Hell yeah.
It was. So we go up there, and me and my good friend Bobby went to get to Pappy and Harriet's early because it's sold out.
Oh, shit.
So we think if we just get there early enough, we'll have dinner, and then we'll have the band get us in. You know? Which we did, but we were getting pretty wasted, and it was a great show. And I met Chris afterwards, and everything was awesome. And then they went off and did a couple more shows. And then I think Jesper had told me that there was another run coming up, and I jokingly said, just as a joke, it's like, oh, well, if Chris needs a bass player, let me know, ha, ha, ha.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing, about a week later, Jesper texts me saying, Chris is going to call you tomorrow. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, no way.
Here we go again.
And I wake up 10 a.m., Chris calls me. He's like, hey, what's up, man? I was like, yeah, what's up? And I think we kind of remembered each other. Well, he remembered me maybe from meeting him.
Right.
He's like, yeah, it was really cool. I got, 2 weeks coming up. If you want to do it. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And that was kind of it, that one, to be honest. And then we had a rehearsal. We rehearsed each song once, and then we were packing the van right after.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really great, and a really great tour, actually. That was like he likes to do a van tour.
Yeah.
He's doing his stuff. He likes to get in the van, pack the van tight. Come on, boys.
Keep it DIY.
Right.
DIY, and then off we go. And yeah, that was really awesome. And, it was me, it was Jesper on drums, a guy called Adam Ditch Kurtz on the pedal steel, and Chris, and it was a great time.
Now, does Chris sing too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear his voice now because I never knew he sang.
Yeah, he's got a really cool, raspy kind of country, rock and roll punk rock voice.
That's awesome.
And he's, it's like really earthy kind of down to earth lyrics.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. He's got good stuff. And that was just a really, really fun run. It's not bad when you're rocking up, hanging out with a Foo Fighter also. So it was really cool, man.
Definitely sounds badass. Yeah, it's just everything's unique. The experiences that you're telling us about. It's not like there was one way in. Just one thing led to the other, and then I'm gonna say, hey, if I'm gonna joke around and say, hey, if you need a bass player. Yeah, boom, just like that. See?
No, and I think a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, right. But Jesper's a good friend of mine, so I can joke around with him.
Sure, you've been playing with him long enough, right?
Yeah, we play with each other all the time.
Well, here's the thing that's the coolest thing about it, and it kind of goes back to like, you know how many people go to Los Angeles to become the next big thing or like do the next big thing and just nothing ever happens? And then you came here and have that story. It's pretty inspiring, and it shows the kind of person or the kind of mentality you have, which is like not really like, you're not like an aggressive person. You just put things out there and it comes back to you. And then you just tap into them. So that's really, really fucking cool, man.
I really started to enjoy I think, and that's the other thing that happened too. Like, I kind of forgot about sometimes you'd be like, why am I here? And what's the purpose and all that? And I just started really enjoying the city.
Mm.
And now I'm enjoying it even more. Now I just started surfing. I'm just like, this is, I went down to Laguna Beach. I'm like, I need to be going to the beach more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To me like a year ago, and I was like, dude, let's go. I'll buy a surfboard.
Yeah.
Admit to it. And
it was an afternoon jaunt across the valley in search of a surfboard. Me and Fox Fagan got into my trusty steed.
Fox, how long you been surfing for?
A week.
Weeks.
How's it going? That's a really hard sport.
I caught my first wave. Like, what was it, 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days ago we were at El Porto.
That a boy.
So happy. I was like, fuck yeah! Smash.
Remember at Point Break? Get off my wave.
That's the beach where we're at.
Nice.
Where they filmed most of Point
Right.
Break. Yeah, they filmed most of it at Porto.
No way.
Yeah, dude. If you look at the towers at Ship Pipe, which is on the other side of the jetty, that's in the movie.
Wow. Oh man, yeah, I love it. I can't wait to go. Michael keeps canceling on me like at 3 in the morning.
Sorry, dude.
I wake up
First time I had bronchitis. The second time my back pulled out. So
I got a bad back. Doctor says I need a backiotomy.
Backiotomy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this. So, what's kind of your advice to people who are kind of that would want to come up in your kind of situation? Like, how do you say, hey, because I know you do some mentoring with people learning Pro Tools and stuff like that. What's the advice you give to people when either asked or needed?
I mean, it depends what they're asking, I guess.
Well, let me ask you. I'm a musician, up and coming musician. I'm looking for, I want to do music it doesn't really matter what it is, but like, how do I get in, or like, some kind of advice, because you obviously put yourself out there, but you never like were aggressive and a dick about it. So it seems like things just come to you, but that's what I'm getting from you. What's your kind of advice for somebody that's up and coming that wants to do music but doesn't really know where to start, kind of thing, just for general advice?
I think if you're like a teenager starting to get into music, like the best thing to do is to play as much as you can. Mm-hmm. And normally you would say playing with other people is the best way to go about it. And playing shows every night. A rehearsal, playing one show is like playing 10 rehearsals. Mm-hmm. Knowing how to prepare, if you're like an already pretty, accomplished musician and you want to do gigs, and playing with bigger and better artists, preparation is 90% of it. Mm-hmm. And that goes from the first audition to every gig. Because if you a lot of the times now, like with these bands, like we won't rehearse now. Well, I'll get a call to be like, well, you've got a gig on this date, and then you go to the airport, bam, and then before you know it, you're on stage playing songs you haven't played in 6 months. Mm. So, and the preparation for me is key for me to actually have a good show.
Sure.
To enjoy myself up there, and then if I'm enjoying myself, I know at least my other bandmates are enjoying playing with me.
Yeah.
And so preparation, doing your homework is. I think I spent a week in my studio learning Chris's songs before we had the first rehearsal. But when we went in there, I knew the stuff.
Yeah, it's important. I think that a lot of, for me, I go home from the studio and I'm doing music at home and I'm coming in with ideas. But a lot of the guys I jam with are used to. And the reason I don't jam with them anymore is because they walk through the door and they start thinking they're not bringing in any ideas. They're not rehearsing anything prior to coming in. And then it just makes everything kind of stale and stagnant. And and then they try to get involved in the writing process. It's like, you didn't even go home and think about what we were rehearsing last week, and you didn't learn it, and you have to relearn it again. So if you don't have the aptitude or the neuroplasticity for the bandwidth to be able to retain, I think as a drummer, it allows me to be able to memorize shit right on the bat. And then the next time I go back, I'm like really good at, like, if I don't have to practice for months, I could come in. But that was from a lot of persistent going in, learning things, and just going home and practicing it. And I think a lot of people miss that boat. And I think that's a huge, caveat here, is that be prepared, because don't just go in and just try to rehearse. Like, go in beforehand and learn, and then be prepared.
I mean, there's that side of it, and then there's another side of it. Like, whereas, like, okay, say if I'm recording a guitar player and it's a session, sometimes I don't want the guitar player to hear. I don't want him to be prepared when he comes in, because I know what he's going to bring to it.
Okay.
And I just want him to bring that. I think it's different for a drummer or a bass player, because you kind of need to know arrangements.
Yeah, it's the bass structure of the song.
And if you're doing, I think every situation is different, and it's preparing for the right situation. If you know you're just going to go in and you're not going to hear the song, and you're going into a recording studio situation and you're not going to be able to hear the song, then at least make sure that your gear is going to work.
Yeah.
At least be prepared in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Make sure that your guitar is set up or something.
Yeah.
If it's something where you're going to go get one or two takes of it and you're not going to get a rehearsal, well, then maybe do your homework.
Yeah.
If you know that you're going to get one rehearsal before you go on a tour, then you know that you've got to learn all the songs beforehand. Especially if they say, because some bands will have live arrangements that are different to the ones that are recorded.
Like Foo Fighters, they do, like, well, just an example, they extend their songs at the end, like, but Dan, Dan, bodado dado, bodado dado, bodado dado, bodado dado, bodado dado.
Wow, your imitation of a stadium ending is amazing.
Dude, they take that bodado dado, and they fucking extend it all the way out, and it's fucking badass. But like, that's not on the album, right? So, it's like,
no, of course. Yeah.
And then same with Teleskopes. A lot of our stuff that we do live is kind of improvised and just goes on. Kind of know the basic structure of it. And like, okay, now it's at that point where we give each other the nod, like, okay, we're gonna go back to it,
right. And that's chemistry too, like with who you're playing with for years, that's to be able to like read each other like that. And I love that about being in one band that's more improv-y versus another that's really more regimented, and get the best of both worlds. But yeah, the more you're doing that and jamming with good musicians, I think it just gets you better and better and better. So, it's like, let's say you're going in to record an album and you have the time to do it. That's why we call it pre-production. So when you go in, you're not wasting all your money and your resources and then coming up with things on the fly. So it's good to get that down. So when you go in, you nail it. And
if you know you're going to go in NRG and get a $1,500 room or whatever they charge, you know that.
Do they really still charge that per day?
Want to have some sort of structure, like, okay, this is what we're going to. There's not really room for experimentation. Not much. There is, but not much. I remember. So this is a funny story, is how the Schiflett and the Foo Fighters thing all swirls around and meets together. Is I remember watching. There's a Sound City documentary that
Sure. Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
With my friend Bobby, and we were thinking about where can Teleskopes go record. We wanted to go record our first record, and I watched this. I was like, we should go to Dave Grohl's studio and record it on that knee, that classic knee.
508.
608. Close.
608. Yeah, sorry. My bad. Hey, I'm a big Neve fan, so like that Neve is like the most classic of all 10 Neve.
Oh, you mean the Neve? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm confused now.
No, so you're saying you wanted to record on that or with Dave Grohl's studio since he brought it to his house.
I was literally watching a TV show, And then like calling up my friend who had said that he knew Dave's wife. And then so I called him up and I was like, okay, can you get us into his studio? And, and then I was talking with the next day I was talking with the studio manager, and we, hooked up a time to go in there and record. And then we're in there and recording. And
wait, you recorded at Grohl's studio?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Dude, a lot of people have. I mean, there's a lot.
And he's got that, big. And we were picking out snares like, oh, we think this is the one he used on Nevermind. We don't know, but we're like,
right.
So it kind of sounds like it. And
it's at his house?
No, it's
no, it's in a room.
It's in okay.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where's that studio located at? Not to give away the back gate.
Not in Northridge or Chatsworth or somewhere like.
Oh, so it's out that way. Okay.
But it's it was badass, dude. And it's a big room, and you got that Neve, and there was a guy called Lou who was running it, who was awesome.
Yeah.
It was just, you're just like pinching yourself the whole time.
Now, are they very selective of who they let in there to record?
I think so. I want to hope so. We felt special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think so.
We did 5 days there, and and it was funny. Like all those, and then years later, I went and we actually had a Chris Schiflett rehearsal there.
Oh,
and
look at that.
And then I saw Lou again. It was, it's just funny how like it all kind of
how it comes back.
It's all connected and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, our first record there. It's out now, called Stereocilia.
Nice.
Check it out. Plug it. Give it a spin.
You're plugging it right now, man. Yeah. Anything you want to say right now?
Is your time. This is your last stand in the podcast. So what are you promoting right now? What is the big things for Telescope? And should we actually spin a Telescope track after this? You let me know.
Yeah, why not? You should.
Which one should we play?
We play Rich Kid Blues.
Okay, great.
We've got Telescopes has a record sitting there. It's literally on my hard drive. That I'm just waiting for things to kind of calm down, and so we can finish it. And then we love playing live, so and then just getting my studio up and running so that I can start to do more stuff in there again.
Sure.
I just produced a band called Planet Nine. They just put a record out.
That record's really good. We listened to it on the way to surfing the other day.
Yeah.
It's like making a 90s kind of racket.
I feel like we're friends with them on Instagram. Like,
we probably are.
Okay.
I know I'm friends with them.
Right. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm definitely writing all this down because I'm gonna drive to practice in a little bit and then listen to it. But so they already have it out right now?
Yeah, right? They've got it's called Orbiter.
Sweet.
And I've produced and mixed all their stuff so far, actually, but that is their first cohesive 5-song piece of work.
Beautiful. And so you play multiple instruments and you're an engineer as well. So you have a really good grasp on recording, which is very valuable, I would assume.
And he's a good one, good engineer.
Oh.
Yeah. Otherwise you wouldn't talk to him, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Fuck people who aren't good at it.
I mixed a couple of movies last year too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed. So I'm hoping some more of that.
What movies?
There was a horror movie called Mark of the Rougarou.
Cool. Is that on?
And there was a hip hop documentary called It's Yours.
Awesome.
So I don't know, what with the pandemic and stuff like that, I'm going to try and get into some composing and,
Yeah, absolutely.
need to go out and see people for probably another 6 months.
You buy another 6
For
months.
next July, as they say in Google.
Nice.
Google's not bringing anyone back until next July.
Right.
Probably other states are going to start to have shows pretty soon.
Yeah.
If anything,
we had a friend of ours on the show, Crash Karma. They went to Colorado and played a show maybe not even a month ago.
Oh.
They did, huh?
Yeah, some biker rally thing. And like Nikki, when she came back, called me and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hang out for a few days at home myself because I'm a little freaked out."
What was it she freaked out about? Just like everybody was freaking out.
Just the thing is, a lot of people weren't wearing masks, and in Colorado is probably slights a little bit more towards the red than they do the blue. And nothing wrong with Colorado if you have listeners in that state, but the thing is that I don't think they've totally taken the mask thing seriously there.
Okay, that is a little scary, right?
Yeah.
When you come from a big city like Los Angeles,
that basically is like, yep, everyone's wearing masks, motherfucker.
It's crazy.
We're like the bad guys now. We're like the bad sibling right now,
You are?
Describe bad sibling. I would say we're like kind of the good sibling, and we just have a really abusive stepfather in the government right now. That's kind of how I see it. Like, President Trump is pretty much an abusive stepfather.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Came on the scene, promised us all this shit for Disney World, and does nothing but lock us in the closet and slap us with a buckle.
Wow.
That's what that is.
Pretty good analogy, Mike.
Yeah, it's actually awesome, and you should go fucking coin that phrase. Anyway, Fox, man, amazing to have you as always, dude.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, seriously. It was a pleasure meeting you. I think, let me just say this. I think there's the thing to take away here is that during this whole thing, you can keep busy and keep being creative. Tap into yourself. Don't be afraid to just, not watch Netflix and just maybe read a book or just start doing something that's creative. Not only that, don't stress so hard about opportunities. Like, put yourself out there, say what you need to say and then let it go and do like a couple follow-up things, and don't, put so much stress on that. Because the more you come from that angle of lack, like you need it, the more it's not going to happen. But if you put yourself out there, every example of what you gave of your story was you let go. And then it came to you. You let go. You put yourself out there. You let go. It came back to you. So, excess potential, that makes opportunities.
It's like, think about it, let it go, because it's not going to happen, but then it does.
It's not easy to do that. Especially as like you're obviously an established musician, so you're probably you're perfectionist on your what you do. So you expect things to be up here. So it could be easy to get like overwhelmed with not getting that opportunity that you're looking to get. But if you come off of it like just like you approached it, without even really knowing that approach works, that's the secret sauce right there, dude. That's what you read about every book you read about, trying to manifest what you want in life. That's exactly what you need to do. And again, you send a message saying, it'd be great to be a bass player if you need a bass player, and a week later you get a call. Like, come on. And then you did that with America. You met the girl. Then you did it again. Was Phillips. I mean, awesome, dude. Pleasure meeting you. And I look forward to, giving you a fist bump when I actually come out there. So
love that too. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. Ta-da.
Are we going surfing tomorrow?
Yeah. We are. I'll see you at 5:30.
That's good.
All right, brother.
Bye, guys.
Be good. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode, dude. I mean, the things we could touch on is, Fox really is the self-made man. You know, he risked it all and jumped the pond to do this.
But look what he did. Look what you talk about.
He perseveres, man. He gets hit with adversity. He doesn't let it bother him. He just keeps going. I think there's a lot to be learned from that lesson.
Agreed. I think mindset is everything before any tapping into any creative thing you're going to put out there and push is the way you do it, and just being able to just not be so hard on yourself and kind of let go and let the source
most definitely
come back to you. Yeah, man. Great, dude.
Well, I got not much else to say at this point.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for bringing another great guest. Thank you for bringing a great guest that can bring value to the people that are listening and watching.
Yeah, definitely. Stay dry and blessed out there.
talking about God. There's nothing I want from here at all. You look to me like a bad memory, but I'm not like them.